And this could be part 3 on my Devise series, and the previous two had more to do. Previous two screencasts on Devise had more to do with styling with Tailwind UI. This one's going to be more about doing like an advanced override in Devise, and I do this in some cases. I use Devise Invitable as well too, and it's kind of standard fare for a lot of the minimal viable products you're going to do to use Devise Invitable and Devise. And not only that, you're most likely going to have a situation where you have, like in this app I'm making, you're going to have, or we want an organization name right away, because there's going to be accounts, I call them accounts, so I'm going to use account name. And there's going to be an account owner. The account owner could have many accounts too, and many accounts he or she owns, and there might be other owners of those accounts that you want to assign in your company. Then you're going to have regular users. Pretty common for like a SaaS app to do that. Now, in my particular case too, I'm going to take it just a little beyond. Like in minimal viable products, MVPs, you want to go fast. And this is and if you're looking to do a minimal viable product, you want to look for some consultant like me who has done these before, and done many before, because they're going to know when to do trade-offs and when not to do trade-offs. Like if you're too inexperienced, you might just do something way too fast and is not going to be able to handle a mid-range of your product. Or if you're not experienced, you may go too slow, want to get everything perfect, and want to make sure every feature is in before you launch the product, and there's sort of a perfection thing going on. And the truth is you need a middle road. One of the things is you can't skimp on is kind of an infrastructure like the one I'm just talking about, where you know that there's definitely going to be a need for multiple accounts and multiple owners of accounts, and just a level of permissions and things that, like, you don't want to go nuts on them, but they got to be in place. Teams is another concept that gets used a lot. You're just going to have multiple teams and different permissions, and you're going to invite people in a team to a certain account, things like this, okay? And you just have to have that infrastructure right off the bat. Anyway, so in Devise, I already had this thing on the first videos where I have an account name. But I needed to get more technical with it. Like, I'm going to have join tables for what's called account owners. It's not important that those details are like I showed the tables or something, but I have account groups table, which is so you can have many accounts, so one user can have many accounts. Then I have an accounts owners table that's going to be a join to figure out who are the owners of these accounts. Okay, so I just needed more, like when I do this original creation of an account, there needs to be more setup done. But at the same time, I didn't want to mess with my Devise stuff. Like, I already have the Devise views, I have the Devise errors, I have, the Devise controllers. Like, I didn't want to make, typically what you would do in this case is like you might make a form object, all right, because you got a little bit more detail here. Or you're going to use, I forget the name of it now, the attributes for, associated attributes for in Rails to make that connection between a user and account name, right? You know what I'm talking about. But like, this is way more complex than that because we're making join tables, and I hate using that thing anyway. I usually never really use it unless it's very basic, and I'm talking again. I forget what it's called again. But you know what I'm probably saying if you know Rails, but there's another thing you can do too, is that Devise gives you a decent amount of hackable stuff to tap in to the controllers to do these special things and keep your standard device around. Okay, so what I did was, so here I'm overriding the Devise controller here, okay? And it has a create action. All right, now I've already had overridden it because I added some Captcha stuff, and some other stuff previously. But this time, what I needed to do was these special account creation things I was talking about. And what they look like is they look more, where did I put it? Why don't I search for it? Wait, what did I just call it? Create. Create. Why is that not here? Oh, it's account. It's under the account model. Go, here it is. Okay. And what this does is it creates these join table stuff. All right, and I use this in one other spot too. That's why I wanted to put it into the model. And it also cleans things up here. But what I did was I was like, okay, I want to use most of the Devise stuff. And before I just had super here, which would go to the create action from the Devise registration controller. And what you can do if you're not familiar with just looking at a gem, to do that, you can just do, I can do bundle. I have an alias, so this is bundle. BU for me is bundle. But, you know, let me just write it out first. So I can do open Devise. Okay, it's already hooked up to Vim. You can have it to different editors. Like you can put the editor name in. You can look over bundle open what that means is, but I can just go to the controllers here, go to the registration controller, and here's create. So this is what I'm overriding. Now by calling super, I'm calling all this stuff, which is nice because it has the respond with stuff. It has everything, you know, all the nice Devise, you know, expire, the sign up, and now I could kind of rewrite all these things or just copy this over as well. Like if I'm really doing something complex, like I can just copy this over. And remember, I'm only messing with create, not update, not destroy. Actually, I am messing with destroy too, but in a very light way as well. But I mean, you could just take this all over, bring it over, hack it up just the way you want, and get it done. It's no big deal. You want to go fast when you're making the minimal viable product. The sign up is very important. Yeah, I mean, it might break in the future, but that's probably a trade-off you can take. But anyway, you don't really have to do that too, because what they really nicely did was they yielded out the resource. So I can pass a block into super, and then it'll do all this stuff for me. It'll resource save. So I'll have the saved resource that I can now pump into my associations. Okay, so that's what I did. So what I first had to do was just prepare account. Oh, let me just say the first thing I had to do was you can use the new attributes API in, where am I here? User. And what did I call it? Account name. Okay, this is what I did. So I made an account name attribute, the string, and I made a note only used for sign up form because, yeah, that's what happens here. All I did was I have my resource from Devise, and by putting that attribute in, I can just make a standard input tag here with the account name, and it's going to not spit out an error, okay, because it's actually an attribute on the user model. And then next, so let me go down to prepare resources. So I'm extracting out the account name. I'm sticking it into the account model to get validation, because I do have a uniqueness and it has a presence validation on the account. So then in the user model, I'm doing build resource, which comes from Devise, and I'm taking out the account name, and then I'm sending back the user and the account. Okay? And that's what happens here. So I'm really not doing anything fancy. I'm separating things out in Rails, and this is a one-time thing, so I'm not using a lot of magic. I'm sending them both back, and if they're both valid, then we can go into this phase where everything's fine. They pass validation. Here I have to account save at this point, okay? And because I'm going to need this already saved, persisted to do this. When I do super, the resource is going to get persisted. The user resource is going to get persisted. Okay? It's not already persisted here, but it gets persisted here. You're following all this? And then in the block, we can do this account create stuff, which I showed over here, which creates a special association that's unorthodox, but I really need it. And okay, let's go back here then. And also it has the, you know, like I have in Devise, you have an after sign in path, you have an after sign up for path, and I need those accounts persisted to get the proper path to where to send these logins next and these signups next, okay? And that all works when we use super. Because that's when I showed you here, all that stuff is done. After sign-in path, after an active sign-in path, so we got cleanup. So we're leveraging all this stuff that Devise has. I don't want to do it again. All I need is a persisted user. All right. So one other thing. Let's go back here. Then I have just some stuff here, like if it is a first-time user, you send out like, you know, it's a first-time user, their new sign-up kind of thing. Now, what if there's an error? Okay. So here we have an error, so it gives it this condition here. If it's an account error, we can add the error. Let's just do an error over here. Okay, let's going to make this blank here. All right, so we have the error right there. Account name can't be blank because I added it to the user resource. Very simple. I just did a join if there's multiple errors. And yeah, it only shows up if the account is valid. Invalid, unless account valid, so it means invalid. And one thing you have to do too is you need to persist the account name back into the resource. Now I might have messed something up there. I don't know why. Like, let me show you what I mean. Let's just take this out actually, just to see if we're getting the right. And we'll put product hunt in. Okay, so it says this can't be blank. Now it has this autofill in here from Chrome, but see, we persisted this back. We don't want to have them type in their account name again if they got something wrong here and here. I also took away password confirmation from the last video because that's, you know, who needs that? I was just like, I've seen others also like getting away from password confirmation, so I am too. But yeah, that's the only other thing you'd have to do too, is to kind of just pump it in. So it's a hack job, but it's an acceptable hack job. Keeps us moving fast. All the logic's here too. Another developer comes in here. Oh, okay. Like, yeah, here's like this and that going on. But it gives us an advanced way to make associations on sign up as well, but keeping all the Devise thing. One more thing too, I did add. If you see here, I styled these with Tailwind. And that was, if you saw the previous video, my simple form Tailwind initializer. I just pumped in this case, it's you get the air that comes into the form field. So you can wrap those in Tailwind there, using Tailwind goodies, utilities, and you get gives a little more of a highlight right here. Okay, that's part 3 of this series, doing a more advanced Devise stuff. So yeah, as always, hope it was really useful to you, and all the best on your MVP. Thanks for watching.